I'm back. Hello and welcome to this edition of Big Sky 35, uh, Saturday edition. I think I just said that for the second time. Giggle a little bit to myself. When am I back? I missed y'all. Been away for almost a week. It was a week. Last Sunday was my last one. I told y'all that night I had to have a colonoscopy done. Long week. Just not looking forward to it. Just trying to get prepping done. If you've been through it, you know what I'm talking about. You know anybody that's been through it, you know what I'm talking about. And I have anxiety issues, so I was having a lot of anxiety this week. Uh, my dad coming down, he's 77. He just doesn't travel well. Not because of his age. He's just never traveled well. He gets lost real easy. So he was my chauffeur after the deal, uh, which really I didn't need one. I recovered. I mean, I woke up, I was good to go. Uh, but nothing. I'm clean. Everything's clean right now. So I'm happy with that. But man, it took me a while to get over the Drake. Uh, um, I didn't work Friday because of it. I mean, I took off just making sure. A lot of times under anesthesia, I don't bounce back very well from that. I've had trouble in the past, but this time I was fine. I went out. It was only a quick little episode, so everything was good with that front. Um, then back, let's do my channel. Enough about that. So Sunday night, me and Nats man had a great discussion. WBC, baseball, life in general, cards. Just a really good discussion. Really good input from our group that watches. Uh, so that was fun. And just, Tuesday night, I usually record for Wednesday. I left work thinking I was going to do it. And like I said, my anxiety was through the roof. I just couldn't do it. And how I relax, and I've heard other people the same way, is sorting cards. So I had things I wanted to do. I just couldn't get it done. I just sat here and sorted cards and watched videos and watched baseball. Um, that was about it. Just to relax a little bit. I wanted to, a lot of things I could have done else, I guess. If you have anxiety, you kind of know how it could get. Um, so that gets me to the day. And like I said, I wanted to recount going to a car show. And then I'll do the second part of my Frank Thomas because don't have a lot to talk about because I didn't do anything this week. Uh, so car show was in Greensboro. It's called Wax Pack Promotion. I've only heard of a couple of their promotions. We have three now big promoters in North Carolina. From my understanding, before and pretty much during the early part of the pandemic, there was nothing in North Carolina. According to Nats man, there was just very little going on. Now we have shows since I've been here. During the winter time, it kind of died down a little bit, where it was like one show, maybe a month, a bigger show, and then some local small shows, probably one week on another. from about November through February. Um, Now we're here in middle of March, and I see shows every weekend, uh, anywhere from 50 tables. Today said 150. I'll get to that in a minute, but we have shows every weekend. Real quick. I want to give a quick shout out to Carlos and Eric and Bobbles. Carlos for having me on the show Friday night. I was off, so um, we would talk a little WBC and just everything else about the hobby. That was really fun. Felt better by then, so I was really happy to do that and just get my mind off of everything and for a few hours. You know how Carlos goes, so that was fun. But Eric was talking about how they have shows all the time, and that's the way it is here. It's just shows all the time. Now, going to this show, I told y'all about my last outing. It was not fun. This time, it was only a 30-minute drive to Greensboro for me. A little nervous because the first round of the NCAA tournament's in Greensboro. Greensboro is a pretty big city, but still, it's a lot of people there. But luckily, this was in a different part of town. Which, yeah, that just to start with, I pull in and I'm like, am I in the right place? It's a convention center, and they had another function going on there. It's a kind of a big place, couple of big ballrooms. This one had a stage in this one. So a lot of the parking lot was destroyed for some reason. I don't know if they're adding on to it or I don't know. But a lot of parking lot was destroyed, and you had to get around was very narrow. Um, yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, these promoters just find the cheapest place and do their show to maximize their funds. Yeah, but I found out, I think some of the problem was they had another event that wasn't started yet, but the people that were putting it on was getting there and things like that. So you had to park around back, walk all the way around to the front. Luckily, it was a little chill in the air, a little nippy here, but the sun was out. It wasn't raining like the last few days, so that would have sucked. I would have probably contemplating on not going. I got a hair issue going on here. Maybe go get that cut. But going down, I was like, oh, here we go again. Again, no signage. One sign again, but once I got there, you kind of knew what was going on. I go in the front door, it's $5, which pretty standard around here. 150 tables. I go in. I should have took a picture. I almost did. Place was packed. This was 11ish, 10:30. Yeah, 10:30, 11, somewhere in there. Took my time getting there and walked around, and again, a lot of value boxes. But at this show, I would venture to guess that half of it was Pokemon cards. This was the most Pokemon cards I've ever seen. And then it was promoted as a card show, Pokemon hobby, pretty much everything. But half of it was at least Pokemon. It wasn't too much toys, a lot of wrestling, um, some pops. I did pick up a couple of pops. But the cards, if you were a vintage guy, this wasn't the show for you. Not much vintage. Uh, Almost all modern was the cards there. A lot of the bro guys dealing with the big gold chains and all that stuff. I ended up buying from one because I didn't really notice, but I saw they had slabbed boxes labeled baseball 9s, 10s. So I started going through the 9s because one of the smartest men here, you get a 9, you cry, I buy. So I was just going through that and just seeing. I'll show those on Wednesday. Uh, but again, so I'm picking them up, and it had to. So I got. Let me see here. I got this many, right? So that's 7 PSA slabs. They had her look up each one to give me a price. So when I hand them to the guy and I go, "How much are these?" And he goes, well, "Are you looking to get all of them?" I go, "I don't know. How much are they?" Well, if you want bulk, he'll give you a better deal. I don't know until you give me a price. I have no idea. We can't even negotiate until I know what your price is. I we what there's no pricing. You tell me. So I stood there. I know a few minutes, my arms crossed, while this guy he had to go over to the bro to get his pricing. He had to get all his gold chains and everything out of the way. Uh, and he was talking to other people, making deals. He's looking up my stuff. Almost walked away at this point. Almost walked away because there was too many other tables to go to spend my money. And again, I only go with $200. I know to some people that's a lot. To some people that ain't nothing. To me, that's just some money. I usually walk around a little bit. If I find that one card that's under 200, that's what I'm going to get. I did, and I'll get to that in a minute. Uh, so, uh, so I did this, and I didn't see this one until after I went back around. So finally, he calls me over, and he's like, "Oh man, I like your hat." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." I was wearing this hat because they played tonight at 7. So he's looking through it, and he gives me a price, and I was like, and he goes, "Well, I'll just throw this one in for free." And takes off like $15. So I was like, all right, because none of them were expensive. I think the most expensive one was 15, $20. I gave me one for 30. Uh, and I was like, I was kind of iffy on that one, but he gave me an okay price where I was figuring it out. I was gonna get if I was around 100, I was all right. I was okay with that. So that's what we did. I walked off, no bag. So now I didn't take my backpack in. I've kind of stopped doing that for right now when I just go to these shows where I know I'm not going to be in there a long time. Because I mainly carry a backpack for my waters and some snacks. I'll carry, most people already have their stuff in protective. I wish I would have done this today I usually carry a box, graded box to put graded cards in. Um, but the last few shows I've gone around here have been so narrow, and I am a big dude. I'm 6'2", 350. You've seen me out in real world. I'm not a small fella. Um, so that backpack, I just take up too much space, and I respect everybody's space. Maybe others don't. I'll get to that too in a minute. So he gave me that no bag. I ended up just putting them in my pants pocket. They fit in there. Uh, so went on about my business. About etiquette. My man Westergriff a few years, maybe last year, did one on etiquette. I think he needs to do that again. I think we need to pass it on, especially with young people. Everybody's screaming about kids. There's plenty of kids there. Believe me, because I could have backhanded half of them that were there. I don't believe in child abuse at all, but I understand it sometimes. But these kids, I know we love to have the kids in the hobby. We love to have the kids in any aspect of any part of life. I've never understood when we want to specify the kids. This hobby is for everyone. We don't need the kids to carry it on. There'll be other people to carry it on. This hobby's never going anywhere. So let's stop with that mess. But anyway, uh, I mean, me and this guy were shoulder to shoulder, and all of a sudden I feel this little presence in between my waist and his waist. I just looked down, and as a kid, like looking at me, like, get the hell out of my way. And I'm sitting here with a handful of cards going through a box. I I did. I gave a little elbow and he backed up. I didn't hit him. I just gave him a little nudge, like on the shoulder. You know, I didn't even look to see how big a dad was behind me or anything else. We would cross that bridge when I got there. But I was already a little pathetic, little mad because I couldn't get to the table because there was other Pelican cases blocking up, trying to make a deal on one card that nobody knew a price on because guess what? It was a low numbered card with a patch auto. Every patch is different. So, you know, when you throw all of that in the mix, it's like, oh, we don't know how to price it. Those type of basic, that to me is basic knowledge. You should have some knowledge about what cards you're taking to the show, what you want for it, and then a guy across the table, you're supposed to be the guy across the table. Now I know you're gonna be throwing some curveballs, but this was, I think, it was Atlanta Braves pitcher, and I don't know which one it was because they all look kind of the same. And rookie card, and they were kind of having, because the patch had more than, you know, two colors or whatever, throwing off what the comp was. So I was just sitting there shaking my head because I get so tired of that mess. If you don't know what's going on, step to the side and let the big boys play. All I want to do is look at some cards. So I'm doing a little rant, but I was enjoying the show. Let's put it that way. Just the little things like that. Because when I got in, a lot of space. I was upset I didn't have my backpack. That was the one thing I wish I would have. It's just everybody was right at the table and not a lot of movement, not a lot of in and out. Because like I said, I think now that there's just so many cards on the market for a dealer to make his money at the show. He's got to have the case, you know, stuff that he's going to show off, but he's got to have value boxes and for you to go through. And I'm not calling them dollar boxes. I'm talking about value where you're getting $5, $10, $20 cards and they're taking discounts off of them. And that's where the deals are happening. So when that happens, you have a lot of blocking of the tables, which is understand. You just got to be patient. But when you're just standing there humming and hawing over a card, one guy walked up to, I'm sitting there, had a question about a Justin Verlander card. Guy walked up to the table and goes, here's the conversation. Do you buy football cards? The guy goes, sure. What do you have? Well, I looked over because I'm always like, I want to see what people are trying to sell, especially this time. You know, what's going on. I don't have nothing with me, but I have, you know, my son's trying to sell. What he should have said is, hey, can I ask you some questions about selling football cards? Because he went on this long story about how his son and other people in his family have cards and how his son's. And then he goes, long story short. And I said, too late. Just like that, and walked off. And then both of them just standing there looking at me because I was just like, whatever. I mean, because it was the most. I didn't understand what the guy was. I still don't know what the outcome of that conversation was. But I was like, I couldn't resist because it was the dumbest conversation I think I've ever heard. I mean, other than the fact that the guy needed information more than, hey, are you buying football cards? And that just proves to you, not everybody is into this like we are. Like they're gonna watch videos. He doesn't even realize he can go on YouTube and look up football cards and get videos upon videos on buying, selling football cards, or just, you know, going on knowing that there's thing, because all he was talking about was Beckett. And I mean, he doesn't know about like Card Hedger or some of those things like that. And the first thing the guy asked was the cards between 85 and 95. He said no, most of them are newer than that. So that perked the guy up a little bit. But then again, I just think there's so many hidden gems in the junk era, especially with the with grading now. Then I went over and I kind of started walking back around, and the guy did have some Perez Steel autograph stuff, non-graded. I think it was a little too pricey with it not graded or having any type of COA with it, but he had a Johnny Bench. I probably could have talked him down for the cash I had in my pocket at the time, um, but I just didn't. I didn't feel like it, so I ended up going and haggling for two pops for less than the money he had. Um, some short prints that out Darth Vader's, if anybody cares. Uh, that out really would like to have in my Darth Vader collection. So that's what I ended up doing. Great show. I think these guys are competing with. It was new blood for me. A lot of new dealers. I don't know where they came from. I could tell there was a lot of people that don't do dealing for their income. That they just show up on the weekend and throw out stuff on the table. Um, but it was good. And like I said, if you're a Pokemon collector, there was a lot of that there, which I didn't mind. Uh, a lot of modern cards. Um, Again, nothing in the card realm that was like, ooh, look at these, that made me stop and go, huh. Uh, I did see one Pete Alonso auto that I probably could have got. It was a black, but uh, I thought it was going to be out of my price range to even ask it. I went back to my car and kind of looked up, and I had an alert on my phone for new pricing on the blue black chrome, just not the standard, for well under what the amount that I had in my pocket at that time. So I probably, who knows, probably still would have been above that. So all in all, it was a good show. I went in going, oh no, here we go again. The only thing that if I had to give them a, a little advice is have a place where it has an ATM on the grounds. That that's a big deal because people take cash and they might go over their budget if there's an ATM. I don't know how many sales are left on the floor because it's not an ATM. I saw almost all cash transactions. Like I said, nothing huge because there was a lot of value boxes, a lot of dollar boxes. There was one guy that had a bunch of boxes I would have loved to gone through, but there was a crowd around it the whole time I was there, and I wasn't that patient at the time. I was ready to go. Um, I was kind of over it by then. But again, pretty good show. Really, this was a lot better than that other Nimrod that does his at Tidewater, whatever. So I will be going back to that promotion. So I got two promotions plus some smaller ones around. Probably next show will be the last weekend of the month, going to Hickory, which could be next weekend. I have to look at a calendar. Let me see here. Nope, the weekend after that. I think it's the same weekend as the Chantilly show. That's the reason why I'm not going to Chantilly. I made my choice. Hour away. Just I think I've said it before. The card show part of it's not as good. It's big, about the same size as their card show, but the toy side of it kind of makes it for me to go, oh, not rather go, but it's a good compliment to not driving 4 hours one way, at least for me. Shoot, more than that, 5-6 hours to go to that one in Chantilly. It's just a money thing. I want to save as much money for the national. So let's get to the Frank Thomas. I love the babble. We're gonna run through these. These are cards that they're not in my book. They're either too big, or most of them are just like Project 100 or 70 cards. These are a couple that are just too big for my book, that I picked up along the way. Non-numbered. I think that's just a base card for that year. Very beautiful. Another one out of the same. I think these are triple threads. Sometimes they're tributes when they with that. Yeah, triple threads. Both of them. I just love triple threads. Uh, Not as I like museum collection a little bit better, but triple threads are pretty darn good. Pretty nice, nice clean cards. Next are going to be like 100, Project 70. Um, Try to pick up all of these when they came out. Got some pretty cool ones. And then this one here is just that was a Project 100. That was Project 70. Project 2020, I think. All of them I have. I didn't show them in King Griffey or any of them. So I have them all. I'll be sitting here for 30 minutes showing all of them. This is I think my only memorabilia it's a bat piece. I just don't collect a lot of mem cards. Uh, if I get them, I find them in a value box or something like that. This one here is one of my favorite Frank Thomas cards I have with Lewis Robert. A lot of these I've just picked up like off of PWCC or something like that for very cheap. Now You Cry. This one I graded myself. Another one I had graded out at the National in Chicago. Can't remember where I picked this one up at. Just love that clear cut, beautiful card. 1995 Stadium Club. Stadium Club really changed the game. I mean, here's a Planet Metal from 1999, Metal Universe. Those are very tough cards at 8. I mean, with that die cut, tough cards. Another tough card. I know I picked these two up together. I can't remember which show. I want to say it was Chantilly. Not last year, but year before. My dad. He was talking them up against the wall over there. If you ever been there, Topps Gold. This is one of mine. A little disappointing, 8.5, but still love it. Topps Gold. Let's see here. These are some off of my shelf that I keep over here. 90 score traded in a 9. Man, I don't know how many of these I've graded trying to get a 10. I can't. I think they look awesome. And I just can't get it. I know the back here is just a little off center, but man, for PSA, I still a head scratcher. Can't figure it out. I have so many of those cards. I just refuse to buy a 10. Here is an 8.5 that's all center for CSG. It's understandable. I had graded, so Fleer. I mean, they're in my PC. This one here, little off center. I think that's a tough grade for it, but that's if y'all do CSG, that's just how they are. This is one of my favorite. I don't know why. I have two really cards. I like the Lou Bob in him. This is up there for one of my favorite cards as well. 10. It's just Frank Thomas sitting there with a frank smile. It's a 1992 Topps. And I mean, you can call that junk area all you want. 92 tops. They may have had some great, just regular pictures of people. Not a lot of action cards or stuff like that. I just love those cards like that. Really nice card again that I had graded 9.5. Frank. This is the 1990 score first draft. I had a regular set. And also that's out of my collection. Another one out of my collection that I love. I get a lot of his non-rookie stuff. You know, if I get non-rookie stuff graded, it's because I like the card of my PC guys. 90 Classic Yellow, I bought that in a lot. Again, another card I really thought was better than a 7.5. I know these classics grade tough, but it is what it is. Another Topps Gold, 8.5. This here is the Topps Kanebo Series 2. I got it the couple years ago in Chicago from our Japanese Legends friend. Got some really cool stuff from him over the years. Can't wait to see him again. This year's National. 90 Bowman. 8. I need to get a better one of that one. This one here, I picked up off of PWCC. Got it in the 7. And the reason I did this set here, 94, bricked so badly. To find this with no paper loss, because I have one with paper loss, it's just, I mean, it's tough. Another Topps Gold in the 7 from 93. Black Gold. Another one I picked up off of PWCC. Like I said, I got this one. This is one that I kept as just something at the beginning. I picked it up. I was like, no way it's a 6. But look at that top to bottom, a learning experience. I'm sure it's got something damaged on there too. I always keep that just to, what am I going to do with it? You know, coaster card. Fleer, 91 Ultra, great set. Again, you know, you're going to call it junk era. I call it another set that I really, really like. And a 9 CSG. And then to end it all is probably my favorite picture of Frank Thomas. I know everybody, he was known for hitting. You know, Eric Goesback Pages loves those hitting cards. I understand that. I do too. I have plenty of Frank Thomas hitting. But these cards are just sitting there, you know, portrait cards, whatever you want to call them, Topps Stadium Club. That's the 92 Topps Stadium Club, just the 381, nothing special, not the choice, player's choice or nothing or whatever, just a regular old card. And then that was my last of my graded. Then we're going to run through what on my shelves. These are my autos that I have on display by me here. Auto 75. I love getting these gold and silvers. I'm a sucker for them. I just thought this was just a beautiful, clean card. And got it at a good price. Tier 1. Like Tier 1 cards. They're just clean. This one here, another one I purchased. This one is out of 99. Happy 60th Topps. I don't buy too much Leaf, but I got a good deal with this one. These next two I bought together. So I got a good deal by buying them together. Not a big Leaf fan. And I don't get too many of my PC autos graded. I don't understand the auto grade, like getting an autograph I'm buying the autograph. I don't care what the grade is for the card. I want the autograph. And this one here is probably my favorite autograph I've had of Frank Thomas. It's a patch auto to 10 from Topps Dynasty. Uh, the sticker label on it is a little rough. It looks like it got rubbed on pretty good, but that patch autograph, beautiful. Uh, Not much I can say on it. That's probably my favorite Frank auto. Might be my favorite Frank card. Either that one or this one here. Like I said, I don't need expensive cards. As you can see, not a lot of these Frank Thomas cards I have graded are very expensive. I like them. They get me in here. You know, I don't have to explain it. It's the way I like to collect. Very very base oriented guy. Grew up with the just flagship. Nothing's fancy, and I like it that way. I do collect the colors and all the alternatives too, but some of that's good picture taking is where it's at for me. So next time, so let me tell you what's coming up. So I got coming up. We got Natsman and I'll be chatting it up. WBC talk again, more baseball. Probably be talking about some of the football trades going on, and not just trades, but free agent signings. Uh, Man, it's my phone's just going off. Ian Rappaport's getting his money. They're getting his money out of him this week. Uh, let's see. One of my friends at work in Iowa told me to start following him, and that's for football. That's probably the best thing I ever did. So probably chat it up like that. Some other things in the hobby. Whatever y'all want to bring to the table is awesome. And let's see, Wednesday I'll be showing off my pickups from last week or so. Got some mail from James, awesome dude in the hobby. Can't say enough about him. I always gush over James. And then, of course, some Myco pickups. And then I got some stuff for Nerdy Thursday. Awesome stuff that I picked up. Excited about that. And till Monday, like, share, tell a friend, subscribe if you haven't. And we'll see you.